Welcome to Learn with Lili. Today we are starting with your Long Man New Images English course book, Class 4, Chapter 7, and the name of the chapter is M.O.M. in Orbit. Word focus. Orbit. It is the curved path a space object or spacecraft follows around a star, a planet, the moon, or another objects. Cross-connect. An orbit is a bony cavity containing the eyeball, also known as the bony orbits or eye sockets. In 2013, a team of scientists at ISRO was racing against time to complete an important mission. They wanted to send a satellite into orbit around Mars. Nobody in India had ever tried such a thing before. In 18 months, Earth and Mars would come very close to each other as they orbited the Sun. The scientists wanted to send the satellite into space then because it would need less energy. Once launched, the satellite would enter Mars orbit. It would then send the scientists important information about Mars' surface and atmosphere. After months of hard work, bad weather delayed the launch by 5 days. Everyone was very nervous indeed. 5th November 2013. Thankfully, it was a success. But their work wasn't done yet. The satellite's engine wasn't strong enough to take it out of Earth's orbit. They had to come up with a way to generate a lot of speed fast. So they made the satellite orbit around the Earth 6 times and waited until it picked up enough speed. Then they fired the engines to burst the satellite out of Earth's orbit. The technique they use is a lot like when you tie a ball to a piece of string and rotate it over your head until it builds enough energy to fly out of your hand with great speed. The next obstacle the scientists faced was getting the satellite into Mars orbit. If the satellite was too slow, it would crash into Mars, and if it was too fast, it would miss the planet's orbit and drift off into space. It was as if they had to hit a target from thousands of miles away. The moment of truth had finally arrived. Everyone was on tenterhooks until they heard 3 little words. M.O.M. in orbit. India successfully launched its first satellite into Mars orbit on the very first attempt. It is hard to believe now that India's first attempt to launch a satellite into space ended in failure. In 1979, this happened. What's harder to believe, however, is the humble beginning of the Indian Space Research Organizations, late in 1960s. Perhaps the hardest thing to believe is that India is today one of the most important spaceports in the world. ISRO has come a long way since the days of bullock carts hauling in important rocket parts. They've built one of the most reliable rocket ships, developed a space program from scratch, and even launched 104 satellites simultaneously. And who knows, maybe someday it might be up to you to lead us to the stars. So the word meanings, ISRO is Indian Space Research Organizations. Racing against time means finishing something very quickly because of limited time. Generate means produce or create. Thrust means push suddenly or violently in a specified direction. Technique means a way of carrying out a particular task. Obstacle means a thing that blocks one's way or prevents progress. On tenterhooks means worried or nervous about something that is going to happen. Humble here, not special or important. Spaceports, bases from which spacecrafts are launched, and simultaneously means at the same time. So now about the author. C.G. Salamander is a fiction writer and a storyteller. His short stories and comics have appeared in various short story collections and literary magazines. Read and answer. A1. Choose the correct option to answer these questions. Put a tick mark. 1. When were the scientists at ISRO racing against time? 2013. 2. What delayed the launch? The bad weather. 3. When was the satellite launched? 5th November 2013. The satellite would send information about Mars's surface and atmosphere. Question and answers. Let's refer to the notebook. Question number 1. Why were the scientists racing against time to launch the M.O.M? Answer. The scientists were racing against time to launch the M.O.M because they wanted to send a satellite into orbit around Mars to send information about Mars' surface and atmosphere. Question number 2. What were the challenges faced by scientists during and after M.O.M's launch? Answer. The challenges were 1. Bad weather delayed the launch by 5 days. 2. The satellite's engine was not strong enough to take it out of Earth's orbit. 3. They had to come up with a way to generate a lot of speed fast for it to continue. And 4. Getting the satellite into Mars' orbit. Number 3. Describe ISRO's humble beginnings. Answer. ISRO had come a long way since the days of bullock carts hauling in important rocket parts. The ISRO scientists have built one of the most reliable rocket ships, developed a space program from scratch, and even launched 104 satellites simultaneously. 4. What are some of the ISRO's achievements? Answer. Some of the ISRO's achievements are as follows. 1. The Aryabhatta satellite, India's first satellite, launched in 1975. ISRO built and launched the M.O.M, means Mars Orbiter mission, which made India the first country to set to Mars on its first try. Now answer the questions with reference to the context. 1. So they made the satellite around the Earth 6 times and waited until it picked up enough speed. A. Who are they? They are scientists of ISRO. B. How many times did the satellite orbit around the Earth? 6 times. C. Why did they wait for the satellite to gather speed? Answer. They waited for the satellite to gather speed because they had to fire the engine to thrust the satellite out of Earth's orbit. Number 2. Everyone was on tenterhooks until they heard three little words. A. Who are referred to as everyone? Answer. Scientists of ISRO were referred to as everyone. B. What is the meaning of the expression on tenterhooks? Answer. On tenterhooks means waiting nervously for something to happen. And C. What were the three little words? The three little words were M.O.M in orbit. And now think and answer. 1. Do you think it is important for India to have a space program? Answer. Yes, I think it is very important for India to have a space program. This helped our country to develop its own satellite, which helped in communication, weather forecasting, and disaster management. Number 2. What would be the result if the satellite was too slow or if it was too fast? If the satellite was too slow, it would crash into Mars, and if it was too fast, it would miss the planet's orbit and drift off into space. Now, let's create word world. Read this sentence. Everyone was on tenterhooks until they heard three little words. In the above sentence, on tenterhooks means waiting nervously for something to happen. It is an idiom. Idiom is a commonly used expression whose meaning is different from what the individual words it is meaning. Now here, match the idioms in column A to their meanings in column B. Number 1. Cry wolf. Cry wolf means ask for help when you do not need it. 2. A dark horse means a person who keeps his or her ideas or qualities secret. 3. Smell a rat means suspect something. 4. Go the whole hog means do something as completely as possible. And 5. Get on your high horse means to behave in a way that shows you think you are better than others. B2. Identify the idiom and their meanings into each sentences. 1. Rahul has a short fuse. Short fuse means to have a tendency to become angry very quickly. 2. It's late. Let's call it a day. Call it a day means decide to stop doing something. Number 3. Are you having second thoughts? Second thoughts about getting a car means feeling of doubt. 4. Don't beat about the bush. This is very common and it means to avoid getting to the point. And 5. Ria is the type of friend who stays with you through thick and thin. Through thick and thin means through many difficult times over a long period. Now, we want to learn about prepositions of time. Read these sentences. In 2013, the team of scientists at ISRO was racing against time to complete an important mission. The highlighted word indicates when the incident took place. Prepositions of time are prepositions that show when an action is performed. So here in this chart, you can look at this clock to learn more about prepositions from time. In summer, in 2019, we will use on for days like on Monday or on Holy. Ago, a year ago, a month ago. At noon, for 5 days, for 10 days. By, I will be back by night. Till and until. She is on leave until Monday. Or they will wait here till 9 o'clock. Before and after. Before 2015 or after tomorrow. Since yesterday, since 1898. And past, 10 past 5. So here you can see these are all the preposition words. Now here, fill in the blanks using the correct prepositions from the help box: at, for, on, before, and in. Number 1. The school opens on 15th July. Number 2. Shruti went home at lunchtime. Number 3. We shall leave for the cinema in half an hour. 4. He went for a walk before breakfast. And 5. He lived in this old town for 1 year. Underline the incorrect prepositions of time and write the correct ones in the space provided. Number 1. Many shops don't open at Sundays, on Sundays. Number 2. My train leaves until noon, at noon. Number 3. She must complete her homework past evening, before evening. Number 4. You must wait until tomorrow. You must wait for tomorrow or until tomorrow. Number 5. I'm just going to bed at half an hour or so. In half an hour or so. Number 6. This book was published since 2012. In 2012. Number 7. He has not eaten from yesterday. Since yesterday. And number 8. They have been living here since many years. From many years. So, if you enjoyed my video, please do like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. God bless you all.